Hi, this is Kevin with The Conscious Builder. On this project, we added a garden room addition to the kitchen, as well as a master bedroom and ensuite above the garage. In this video, I'm going to share how we cladded these two structural beams in our garden room addition for this amazing finish. Enjoy the video. So this addition has a pretty unique shape. Although it kind of looks semicircular, it's actually half of a decagon, or a 10-sided figure. This shape allows a couple of nice angled windows to both look at the pool as well as the garden to this side. So these are our faux beams. They're covering the structural LVL beams beneath, and it's really a labor of love. It's a very difficult material to work with, but it can be very rewarding at the same time. We use 3/4 inch white oak veneer plywood. All edges are mitered, and the outer layer of veneer is extremely thin, almost as thin as a piece of paper. So we had to be very careful not to chip it when cutting, prepping, marking, and sanding the pieces. The mitered edge cut allows the beam to look like one long natural piece instead of 4 pieces put together. So we started with the faux ridge. It creates a nice accent at the top of the ceiling for the 2 columns to connect to, which would be an otherwise underwhelming white ceiling. It's a U-shaped miter folded box. Throughout this project, we used miter clamps over tape so we could adjust the fit as we needed as we went along. We found that the pieces had a slight bow to them, and miter clamps were able to correct it. So between Sean and I, we have probably about 120 of these miter clamps. We used every single one on this project. So after the ridge was done, our next step was to work on the king posts. The connection to the ceiling on the far column had a really unique scribe cut. We had all 5 planes of the ceiling meeting in one spot. This required a lot of finessing. So unfortunately, one of the coolest, most complicated cuts is really hard to be seen. You actually have to stand right here at the fireplace and look straight up at where this king post meets the 5 different planes of the ceiling. So regardless if it will ultimately be seen by anybody else or not, us finished carpenters sleep well at night knowing that pretty well every finished cut that we make is a decent cut and can be inspected whether you're standing 1 foot away or 20 feet away. So because our stock only comes in 8-foot lengths, we knew we had to have a seam somewhere along our horizontal beams. So we decided to have a V-notch at the bottom of the king post with the idea of having a chevron connect between the 2 beams. We cut the angled cut first before making the final plumb cut. We go by the famous adage, mark it once and cut once. Because these cuts are so precise, we only used a knife for scoring and marking. This is about as close to machining as we get in carpentry. Even the sharpest pencil isn't quite adequate enough. So these chevrons add a lot of difficulty and complexity to the project, but they look awesome. Because we were doing multiple ceiling scribe lines on our horizontal beams, we made these little Z-shaped blocks line up with our laser line so that we can have our piece being scribed in the same consistent spot each time. We cut the pieces long and kept adjusting them until we were happy with the fit. And then we marked the last critical spot to make the chevron cut. You only have 1 chance to make this cut, and if you screwed it up, the whole piece is garbage. So although we ordered plenty of extra material, I'm proud to say we didn't screw up a single cut. Towards the end here, this was a really tricky cut. We're really proud of how it came out. Where it meets the wall, we needed to significantly back cut the end of the board. So we did most of the cut with a track saw and removed the rest of the waste with a belt sander. We allowed for some tolerance for the imperfections in straightness and level in the LVL beam, since it's not totally square and level. You can see that the oak extends below the structural beam, and this allows our cladding to be square with the room. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see another video on a faux beam installation, check this one out right here. And now a word from Casey.
Did you know that on average, year after year, over the last 10 years, electricity has gone up by 20% across the US? If you live in the US and you want to beat the utility company at their own game, I have partnered with Apricot Solar and Freedom Forever to save you thousands of dollars. Because of high tax incentives and solar decreasing in costs by 50% over the last 10 years, there has never been a better time to add solar to your home. If you're interested in seeing if your home qualifies, you can head to theconsciousbuilder.com/solar. And don't worry if you don't have the money up front. As I mentioned before, there are great financing options that can get you solar for $0 up front. Once again, that's theconsciousbuilder.com/solar. Until next time, I'm Casey Gray, and remember to live consciously.